Hello class, hello students. For this video lecture, we will be talking about changes or change in accounting policy. But before we discuss what is a change in accounting policy, let us first define, alamin muna natin kung ano bang ibig sabihin ng accounting policies. Okay? So pag sinabi po nating accounting policies, ito po yun they are what? Specific principles, okay, bases, conventions, rules and practices in preparing and presenting financial statements. So, sa Tagalog ng ano yung Tagalog ng policy? Polisiya, di ba? So ito yung mga patakaran, okay? Mga sinusundan natin ng mga principles, mga prinsipyo na sabi ko nga sinusunod natin when we are what? When we are preparing and presenting the financial statements. So that when we are talking of accounting policies, ano yung basis natin when we prepared our FS? Ano ba yung nagiging natin, foundation nitong ating mga amounts na nakapresent sa ating FS? Okay? The same accounting policies are normally adopted from one period to another. If we are applying this specific or particular policy this year, next year, ito din dapat yung gagamitin natin. Okay? Consistency in application. So normally po, ina-adapt po natin yan from one period to another so that what? Users may compare. Please take note ng ating comparability. Okay? Ano ba yung comparability? Dapat, aside from consistency, dapat comparable ang iyong financial statements. Hindi kasi magiging comparable yan kung ngayong taon, iba yung pagkakapresenta mo sa ginawa mo last year. Kasi iba po yung principles na pinagbasehan po natin. Iba yung ating accounting policies na ginagamit. So for our financial statements to be comparable, yung financial statement should follow the same accounting policies, should follow the same accounting principles. Okay? Sabi dito, so that users may compare over a period of time para makapag-identify nga naman ng mga trends. Okay? In its financial position, yung ating balance sheet, yung performance, yung ating income statement, and then your cash flows. Now, meron naman, inaalaw naman po na magbago. Kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na change in accounting policy. Okay, pero when does an entity being allowed to change its accounting policy? Number one, when it is required by IFRS. Or kapag requirement po ito ng itong IFRS or PFRS, Philippine Financial Reporting Standard. Kapag ito po ay requirement ng standard. And actually, it results in the FS providing reliable and more relevant information about the effects of transactions, other events or conditions on the entity's financial possession, performance, or cash flow. Kung makakapag-provide daw itong change in accounting policy ng isang FS na mas pakipakinabang or mas naaasahan, reliable. At saka syempre, mas napapanahon or mas relevant na information. Hindi ko alam kung tama yung aking nagagamit ng mga Tagalog terms, But, I hope naiintindihan nyo naman kapag sinabing reliable at saka relevant, Okay. Now, anong sinasabi po dito sa bandang ibabang phrase? A change in accounting policy daw that is required by an IFRS, etong unang bullet dito, ang tawag po natin dito ay involuntary change. Bakit involuntary? On the part of the entity, okay, wala naman kasi siyang choice kung hindi baguhin dahil ito po ay requirement. So it is not the entity's discretion. Hindi niya po yun kagustuhan. Okay? The old policy ceases to be in accordance with a reporting standard because of the mandatory. Di ba mandatory? Pag sinabing mandatory, sa ayaw ninyo or sa hindi, kailangan ninyo siyang gawin. Kasi mandatory siya. Okay? Because of the mandatory applicability of a revised or new IFRS. Okay? Alright, sige. Next. A change daw that is effected because the management assesses that the FS would be more relevant to the users is referred to as voluntary change. Kapag yung change daw in accounting policy ay nag-emanate or nanggagaling sa management, kung sino yung mga decision makers doon sa company, sa entity na yon, ang tawag po natin doon ay voluntary. Ibig sabihin, etong unang bullet dito, ang tawag natin dyan ay involuntary, samantalang etong pangalawa, ang tawag natin dyan ay voluntary. Nasusundan? Alright, sige. Please take note of the difference ha. Pag involuntary, requirement po kasi yan ng IFRS. Wala tayong choice kung hindi sumunod. Pero pag voluntary, ito po ay action kasi ni management. Okay? Based on their assessment, ang pagpapalit natin ng accounting policy ay mas makakatulong para mas maintindihan ng mga users of the financial statements ang kanilang financial statements. Okay? Etong voluntary change daw refers to a change from one basis to another. And both bases are generally acceptable and are in accordance with prevailing reports, which are currently in the IFRS. Okay. Now, meron tayong tinatawag na early application. Paanong early application? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng early application? Kung halimbawa, kinakailangan nating magpalit ng ng policy at i-effect natin ito beginning January 1, 2022. Ang early application ay period before January 1, 2022. So kunwari effectivity ng or we will apply the accounting policy beginning the following year pero in-apply na natin ito this year. That is what we call early application. However, anong sinasabi dito? Pag early application daw ng IFRS, hindi po yan voluntary change in accounting policy. Okay? Early application of an IFRS is not a voluntary change in accounting policy. Pag voluntary change, tandaan po ninyo this is what? On the decision of the management. However, kung sakali man early application tayo, hindi po yan tinatawag natin na voluntary change. Okay. Now, ang mga sumusunod daw ay hindi mga changes in accounting policies. Letter A, the application of an accounting policy for transactions, other events, or conditions that differ in substance from those previously occurring. Hindi daw po ito change in accounting policy. Anong AA? And letter B. Bakit ito nag-AA? Basta letter B yan. The application of a new accounting policy for transactions, other events, or conditions that did not occur previously or were immaterial. Ito mas maintindihan mo itong pangalawa kasi hindi naman ito nangyari before. Hindi pa naman yung mga transactions na ito kung saan we will have to apply yung accounting policy. Hindi pa naman kasi ito existing before. Kaya naman immaterial. So, hindi po natin siya kinukonsider na accounting policy. Okay? The following, therefore, are not examples of changes in accounting policies. Una, accounting for a new lease contract as finance lease. Even if previous leases were accounted for as operating leases because the new lease contract meets one or more indicators of finance lease. Ito daw class, it is not considered as a change in accounting policy. Pag ina-account natin yung bagong lease as finance lease, even if previous leases were accounted as an operating lease. Hindi po ito change in accounting policy. Pangalawa, change from equity method of accounting for investment in equity securities to accounting for financial assets at fair value through OCI because the investee ceases to be an associate of the reporting enterprise. Pag na-encounter po ninyo itong dalawang item na ito, hindi po yan example ng accounting policy. Both of these changes are necessitated because of changes in circumstances. Okay? Kinakailangan daw ito because of changes in circumstances. Okay, but they are not change in accounting policy. Now, paano natin iti-treat? Ano daw yung accounting treatment for changes in accounting policies? Okay? Letter A. Pag involuntary, at pag sinabi nating involuntary, it is a requirement of the PFRS or IFRS. It should be accounted following this rule. Okay? If the new accounting standard daw provides a transitional provision, kinakailangang sundan ng entity yung transitional provision. Pag sinabi nating transitional provision, ito yung kumbaga in between. Ito yung lumang accounting standard, yung current na sinusundan natin, then meron tayong bago, meron tayong transition. Okay, para smooth yung transition, meron tayong mga traditional provision na during the time of the transition, ito yung kinakailangan nating sundin before we adopt totally yung ating bagong accounting standards. Okay? So, kung merong transitional provision, adapt po natin yung transitional provision. Kung yung bagong standard, wala pong transitional provision, the change shall be treated retrospectively. Okay? Unless it is impracticable to do so. Ano bang ibig sabihin nitong retrospectively? Pag retrospective in application, i-apply natin yan even before. Okay? I-restate natin. Ito po yun, ano? Retrospective application means restating. Okay? Iko-correct natin yung comparative figures, yung prior figures, ano? As if yung accounting policy na yon ay in-apply na in the past. Okay? The cumulative effect of such change shall be considered as an adjustment to the beginning of balance of the retained earnings or another component of equity of the earliest prior period presented. So pag walang provide na transitional provision, yung change, yung pagbabago, yung gagawin nating changes, it shall be treated retrospectively as if it is already happening even before. Okay? Pero paano natin sinasabi na impracticable? Kasi nakalagay dito, unless it is impracticable to do so. Eto yun, class. Okay? Kinu-consider natin daw na impracticable ang pag-change ng accounting policy, yung retrospective application ng change in accounting policy, kung yung enterprise cannot apply the new accounting policy retrospectively after making every reasonable effort to do so. Okay? Simplihan lang natin. Kung after trying, sinubukan ko naman na i-apply itong accounting policy. Pero with my best effort, hindi ko talaga ma-apply. Okay? Itong ating bagong accounting policy or ating accounting standard, impracticable siya. Okay? So yun po yung ibig sabihin. So ibig sabihin kung impracticable to do so, hindi po natin i-apply yung retrospective application. Kasi yun yung ating kumbaga exception to the rule. Apply natin generally, kung walang transitional provision, retrospectively. Pero kung impracticable na gawin yon, edi prospective. Okay, pag sinabi nating prospective, moving forward po tayo. Now, for a particular prior period, it is impracticable to apply a change in an accounting policy retrospectively if, letter A, the effects of the retrospective application are not determinable. And letter B, the retrospective application requires assumptions about what management's intent would have been in that period. Anong ibig nito sabihin? For a particular prior period. Ano ba ang prior period? Yung nakaraang panahon. Okay? In the past, It is impracticable to apply a change in accounting policy retrospectively if Okay? Hindi natin ma-determine kung ano yung epekto nito. Okay? Pag in-apply natin yung retrospective application. At saka, yung retrospective application requires assumptions about what management's intent would have been in that period. Okay? So, kung medyo challenge po tayo dyan, yun nga, we cannot apply retrospectively kasi magiging impracticable siya. O letter C, the retrospective application o retrospective restatement. Pag sinabi nating restatement, halimbawa, last year, ito yung ating audited balances. Then we have to restate. We have to adjust, change the amounts, the figures. Kasi normally, kung ano yung amounts presented in your audited FS, next year, yung current year mo ay magiging prior year. At dapat hindi po siya nagbabago. Kung ano yung naipresent mo sa FS mo ngayon, next year, pag naging prior year yan, dapat as is. Parehas yan. Mako-connect natin. Okay? Mache-check natin na kung yung halimbawa, sa ngayon, gagawa tayo ng FS. Siyempre, kinakailangan comparative. So, dapat meron akong prior year balances. So, mache-check ko siya, matitrace ko siya sa audited FS last year. Pero kung meron tayong restatement, mababago yon. Hindi na sila magbabangga because we did a retrospective restatement. Okay? So I hope malinaw po Please let me know if you have questions. Yung retrospective application or restatement daw, it will require significant estimates of amounts. And it is impossible to distinguish objectively information about other information from those estimates that provide evidence of circumstances that existed on the date at which those amounts are to be recognized and would have been available for that prior period were authorized for issue. Sir, sandali, naglalag yung aking utak. Ano ba kasi pinag-uusapan natin dyan? Magiging impracticable daw na i-apply yung change in accounting policy if na-meet natin itong mga to. A, B, or itong letter C. Okay? Kung itong retrospective application, it will require ng significant estimates ng mga amounts at imposible na ma-distinguish yung information na yan. Okay? From those estimates that nagpo-provide ng evidence that existed on the date. Kung kailan yung mga amounts na yon ay na-recognize or i-recognize. Okay? So, kung mahirap talaga, challenging, sobra. Ginawa mo na. Sabi nga kanina, we tried our best. Meron tayong best effort, pero hindi kaya. O, meron tayong tinatawag na impracticability. Okay? Now, ano naman tong sumunod? When an involuntary change daw in accounting policy is adopted in the current period, an entity shall disclose the following. Okay? Kung yung involuntary change in accounting policy ay i-adapt natin ngayon on the current period, kinakailangang i-disclose. Isasama po ito sa ating notes to the financial statements. Ano yung title ng IFRS? Okay? When applicable, that the change in accounting policy is made in accordance with transitional provisions. Okay? Letter C, the nature of the change in accounting policy. Letter D, kung applicable po ito, ano yung description ng transitional provisions? Letter E, kung applicable din yung transitional provisions, ano yung effect nito on future periods? And letter F, for the current period and each prior period presented, yung mga comparative natin na prior years, to the extent practicable, the amount of the adjustment for each financial line item affected and for basic and diluted earnings per share. Okay? So, for the current and prior period, yung amount ng adjustment for each line item na affected, yung FSLI na tinatawag natin. Kasama na rin po, mga kapatid, okay, mga kaklase, yung basic and diluted EPS or the earnings per share. Yan po ay kinakailangan nating i-disclose. What else? Letter G, the amount of adjustment relating to the period before those presented to the extent practicable. O, laging may nakalagay, ano, to the extent practicable. Kasi bakit? Pag impracticable daw siya, di ba? Eh di, hindi natin i-apply retrospectively. Okay, but these are your disclosures, no? Please take note, ha? And if retrospective application is impracticable, ano yung circumstances, okay, that led to the existence of that condition and a description of how and from when the change in accounting policy has been applied. Okay? So, yan, class, ha? Please take note. Yan po yung ating mga disclosures. Now, let's go. Dito naman. Let's go. Tara. Tara dito sa voluntary change in accounting policy. Now, ano yung kailangan nating tandaan dito? Again, pag sinabi nating voluntary change, kusa, management yung nag-take effect, no? Hindi ito napilitan because of an IFRS requirement. Kaya siya voluntary. When an enterprise daw changes its accounting policy voluntarily, it shall apply the change retrospectively. Kagaya nung involuntary. Adjusting the opening balance of each affected component of the equity for the earliest period presented and other comparative amounts disclosed for each period presented as if what? As if the new accounting policy had always been applied. Okay? Ano yung gagawin natin? We have to adjust the opening balances ng mga affected components of equity. Siyempre, hindi na natin makokorek kung ano man yung na apektuhan before, lalong-lalo na pagdating sa ating income and expense accounts. So what we will need to do is to adjust the opening balance ng mga affected components ng equity. Okay? For the earliest period presented and other comparative amounts, no? Disclosed for each prior period presented. All right? So yan po at kinakailangang i-disclose ni entity or ni company ang mga sumusunod. Letter A, yung nature of the change in accounting policy. Ano yung nature? Okay? Anong klaseng accounting policy ito? Pangalawa, yung dahilan. Bakit kinakailangan nating i-apply yung accounting policy na yon? At kung bakit, pag in-apply po natin itong accounting policy na ito, it will provide a more reliable and relevant information. Okay? Letter C. For the current period and each prior period presented, again, nakalagay dito to the extent practicable, the amount of the adjustment for each FSLI, Financial Statement Line Item. Ito po yung ating dito, shortcut. Acronym ba tawag doon? FSLI is Financial Statement Line Item. Halimbawa, pag nag-check po kayo ng FS, ng financial statement at nakita nyo doon, cash and cash equivalent, that is one financial statement line item. Kasi pinagsasama-sama po natin sa isang amount, yung marami pang yung may breakdown pa kasi yan, Okay, so that is one FSLI. All right? And for basic and diluted earnings per share, kagaya nung sa involuntary, di ba? The amount of the adjustment relating to prior or to periods before those presented. Again, to the extent practicable. And if retrospective application is impracticable, kung impracticable daw na i-apply ito retrospectively, ano ulit yung circumstances that led to the existence of that condition and a description of how and from when the change in accounting policy has been applied. So nakikita po ninyo yung similarity. Yung similarity sa ating involuntary So pakitandaan po ninyo nito although it may be more of a memorization from your end kasi mahirap nga naman siyang i-absorb nang hindi natin na-experience. And even I wala masyadong exposure when I was during my practice sa public practice. Wala rin ako masyadong exposure sa mga ganitong change in accounting policy. Okay? In all instances daw, that require restatement of prior period presented, anong requirement para sa entity? Kinakailangan niyang mag-present ng 3 sets of statements of financial position. Paano 3 sets? Okay? Balance sheet ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, no? 3 sets of balance sheet. At the end of the current period, halimbawa 2021 ngayon, December 31, 2021. And at the end of, at the end of the end, at the end of the previous periods and at the beginning of the earliest prior period presented. So 3 taon po ito, ano? In all these circumstances, when an additional statement of financial position is required, the presented shall have been adjusted to give effect to the retrospective application of accounting policy, reclassification of financial statement element, or any other retrospective restatements. Okay, siguro ang maganda nito, personally on your own, if you can browse different financial statements, anyway, marami namang available sa online, especially pag mga publicly listed. Mas maganda siguro kung Philippine setting, mga FS na pang Philippines, mga company Philippine-based companies, para makikita po ninyo at magkaroon din kayo ng exposure doon. Magkaroon kayo ng mga idea sa mga kung paano pine-prepare yung mga FS at makikita mo yung mga detalye nitong mga kumpanya na ito. Okay, especially if halimbawa you are interested to pursue Nestle or you want to work for Unilab. If the financial statement is available, you can check and read the FS. That will give you more idea, somehow makikita po ninyo yung application doon. Kagaya doon sa mga kagaya minsan yung iba nating mga discussions, it will be more appreciative. Mas na-appreciate natin ito kapag chine-check po natin yung actual sa ating FS. Okay? So, example, para mas maintindihan po natin itong voluntary change in accounting policy na merong retrospective application, we will have to assume the following data for quarantine company. Okay, so naka-quarantine, take note, si quarantine company daw, ginagamit niya ay FIFO method of inventory costing since nag-start siya 5 years ago. Now, ngayong taon, 2021, the management ay nag-decide na i-adapt yung weighted average method. So dito from FIFO to weighted average. Matapos na mag-evaluate sila na etong bagong method daw will provide a more reliable, more relevant financial information for the company. So please take note, this is voluntary because it is management's decision. Okay, therefore, they are now preparing a draft of their financial statements kung saan, okay, the costing method is applied using weighted average method. Okay, for the year 2021. Okay, likewise, the company is restating comparative information for the year 2020 to give effect to the retrospective treatment of the change from FIFO to weighted average. Okay? So you have the following balances. So kinakailangan i-restate po natin yung prior year. Although i-apply po natin ito, okay, for the current year, pero 'di ba, remember, we will have to apply it retrospectively unless it is impracticable to do so. So dito, makikita po ninyo na itong December 31, yung last year natin, 2020, it should be restated following a what? Etong ating weighted average. Okay? So ganyan po yung ating application. At December 31, the inventory amounted to 700 the inventory amount of 750,000 was taken using the weighted average method. At December 31, the inventory of 622 was taken using the FIFO method. Okay, correct me pala, ito pala ay initial. Sorry ha. Ito daw pala, andun pala yung information sa susunod. Etong inventory natin, this amount is using weighted average. Tapos eto namang amount dito ay gamit yung FIFO. And we have this additional information on the profit and loss. Okay? So makikita po ninyo siya dito. From sales hanggang sa bottom figure, profit. Ito yung ating statement of financial performance naman for 2021 and then 2020. Okay, let's see the other information. Noong January 1, 2020 daw, the quarantine company reported retained earnings of 1,051,500 pesos. Dividends of 750,000 and 800,000 were declared and paid in years 2020 and 2021. At yung corporate income tax is 30%. Therefore, yung retained earnings daw as shown in the SFP below were taken as follow. So yung retained earnings ko given beginning January 1, 2020. So ito yung beginning ko nung last year. Okay? Which is your ending balance mo for 2019. Kasi January 1 retained earnings mo is your ending noong December 31, 2019. Okay? So nagkaroon tayo dito ng adjustments 1 million ito yung parang pinaka-movement natin. Add natin profit for the year, okay? And then meron tayong dividend declaration. Okay, saan ko ito hinuhugot? Yung profit ko ay ito, 1,018,500. Ito yung makikita natin dito. And then itong dividends declared, ito po yung information dito naman. Okay? So you can follow it, You just check the information and then you can follow it. Ngayon, inventory balances daw under FIFO and weighted average method ay ang mga sumusunod. Noong January 1, ang FIFO ko 525. Ang weighted average ko 480. Okay? This is my beginning. January 1 Okay? Noong December 31, 2020, ang FIFO ko 622,500, ang aking weighted average ay 570,000. Now, balikan nga natin, ano bang nakalagay dito? Okay, 622,500, that is my FIFO. At eto po yun, applying a FIFO method. Pero, i-restate ko, di ba? Nag-apply ako ng weighted average. So, dapat eto yung aking balance for comparative. Okay, in making a retrospective application ng change in accounting policy, yung computation to restate the COGS for the years 2021 and 2020 are as follows. Okay? COGS as previously reported, 2130 and 1710. Saan ko yan kukunin? Tignan po natin yung ating profit or loss, our SFP, Statement of Financial Performance. Sorry for the shortcut na SFP kasi yung balance sheet din pala ay SFP, Statement of Financial Position nga lang. So ito yung ating COGS 1710. So dito natin siya kinuha, And then we have the difference in January 1, 2020 inventory. 525 minus 480. Ano ba yan? Ito kasi yun, January 1, 2020. 525 minus 480. Okay? So ito yun. 45. Okay? 525 minus 480. Okay? And then, difference in December 31, 2020 inventory. Okay? Magkano naman? 622,500, di ba? Versus 570. Okay? Tignan po ninyo ito, Sa 2021 ko at saka yung 2020. Siyempre, sa 2021, wala po itong effect kasi pang January po ito. Therefore, ang aapektuhan lamang po nito ay yung ating column sa 2020. Okay? And then, yung difference in December 31, 2020, it will affect your 2021, Pero affected din yung 2020 kasi nga, syempre, 2020 pa yon. Okay? Therefore, yung restated cost of goods sold, okay, cost of goods sold natin, ay ma-adjust into 1,717,500. Okay, now the question here, and the question I will leave it as hanging for you to think about. Bakit negative? Bakit positive? At sa kabila, bakit negative? O if you may want, no, kung nasagot na po ninyo yung reason bakit ganyan siya, you can comment down below for the others to see. Okay? But I will leave it as a hanging question para naman meron kayong mapagbulay-bulayan. Sir, ano yung pagbulay-bulayan? Something to ponder. Pag-isipan ng malalim. Ano? Pagmuni-munihan. Okay? Ang lalim ng Tagalog, no? But yes, that is a real Tagalog term. Okay, so I will leave it to you as a something to ponder, ha? Bakit negative? Bakit positive? But please take note, ano ba kasi yung nire-restate natin? Our cost of goods sold. Okay? Beginning inventory of 2020 under FIFO was greater daw. Actually, ito hindi ko nabasahin, ha. Actually, ito yung explanation, no? Kung bakit tayo merong mga amounts dito. But before you read this one, please check them and please analyze and see if you will get the same kung bakit ganon yung nagawa natin. Okay? O yung ating statement of comprehensive income, our OCI, will be presented as follow. Okay? I-restate po natin siya ng ganito na. Nakita po ninyo siya? Okay? Compare natin doon sa previous, no? Okay? Tignan po ninyo. Ano ang nababago? Dito sa restated na SCI natin, ang sales mo parehas lang, di ba? 3,810 or 3,810. Ang COGS ko 1,717,500. Pero kasi dito 3,810. Of course, yung sales mo hindi affected. Ang affected dito yung COGS. Kasi saan ba nanggagaling yung inventory natin? Of course, no, pag nabenta mo yan, it will affect your cost of goods sold. So 1,700, magkano nga yun? Ito 1.71 eh. Samantalang ito 1.717,500. Therefore, no, maapektuhan hindi lamang po itong COGS but eventually our income tax expense. Kasi dahil meron tayong change doon sa cost of goods sold, maapektuhan yung ating PBIT, yung profit before income tax. Dito, 1,455 ka lang, pero after restating, eto magiging what? 1,477,500. So maapektuhan din ang computation ng ating income tax. And eventually, our profit after tax. Okay? Sige. Ito naman yung magiging itsura ng ating statement of changes in equity. Balance January 1 as previously reported. Tignan natin ha. Ito yung ating, ito ha, please take note, January 1, beginning of the prior year. Cumulative effect of changes from FIFO to weighted average inventory costing, net of tax of 13,500. Okay? Sir, ano yan? Saan galing yan? Diba meron tayong 31,500. Ibalik natin itong 13,000. Sorry. Meron tayong 31,500. Ibalik natin itong 13,500. Ito yung 45,000 na difference, no? Okay? Noong beginning. Therefore, yung restated na January 1, 2020 natin ay magiging 1,020,000. And then, profit for the year, dividend for the year 2020. Ito yung ating balanse noong December 31, 2020. And then, profit for the year, dividend for the year, ito na yung ating balanse ng retained earnings mo for December 31, 2021. Of course, yung ating share capital, hindi po yan maapektuhan kasi capital ano man lang yan, no? Share capital. Dito lang tayo sa retained earnings. Kasi take note, sa corporate type of business, yung profit or loss, dito po pumapasok. Okay? Yung account po na yan. Okay? Sige. So, please let me know ha if you have questions. Dito naman, sa tignan po ninyo, no, sa ating balance sheet account. Siyempre, ito po yung ating mga amounts, no? 750 at saka 570. 570, ito na ba yung restated? Itong amount na ito? Can we confirm if this is the, itong amount na ito, yung ating restated? Ano ba before? Balikan lang natin ha. Ito yung before, no? 622,500. Okay, therefore, the amount is the restated balance. Kasi remember, okay, ito yun, di ba? 622,500, di ba? And then it will be changed to 570. So therefore, etong makikita ninyo sa ating balance sheet ay eto na yung restated. Okay, parang may nakaalala sa akin, nakagat ko yung labi ko. Sakit. Okay, then of course, no, affected yung sa ating sa retained earnings. Kasi syempre, nag-adjust tayo doon, di ba? Okay? Sige. So, yan class, no? Tignan niyo ito. 1283,250 as of December 31, 2020. Tapos 1643,500 as of December 31, 2021. So, pag tinignan niyo po ito, no? Asa na yon? Ito yon. 1283 for December 31, 2020. At saka yung 1643 for December 31, 2021. I know, no? Medyo baka confusing ito for you. Kaya pakibalikan po ng mga figures and try to figure out yung subukan po ninyong sundan yung galaw nitong mga balanse na ito. Ito yung magiging book entry natin. Of course, yung affected accounts. Retained earnings ko, tinamaan ng magaling. Pati na rin yung ating income tax payable kasi syempre affected, di ba yon? And then our cost of goods sold. Okay? 52,500 times 70%, yun lamang po yung papasok sa RE kasi of course our income tax payable will be affected. Nabawasan yung ating COGS, no? Ng 52,500 dahil nabawasan yung ating COGS. Ano bang effect nito sa profit before tax? No? Kasi tignan po ninyo dahil tawag nito, nag-credit tayo dito ng cost of goods sold, nag-debit tayo dito ng income tax payable. Ano ba yung ating income tax payable? 'Di ba ang normal balance niyan ay credit because that is a liability. Ibig sabihin, nabawasan yung ating income tax payable. Okay, but the question is why? Why does reducing your cost of goods sold will reduce your income tax payable? Okay? Now, that is another question that I will leave it to you as hanging. But you will have to take into consideration ano ba yung effect nito sa ating profit or loss sa bottom figure natin. Kung nabawasan yung aking cost of goods sold, ano nga bang effect nito? Okay? So, kindly consider, paki-check na lang din. And also, tignan po ninyo, balikan po ninyo yung mga entrada natin dito. Okay? Sige. Ayan. So, we will check, no? Halimbawa, ito, balikan lang ninyo ito, no? From where po, sir, yung babalikan ko? Okay? Ito yung ating pinaka-unadjusted. Tapos, we have this one. Okay? So, hanapin nyo po or check po ninyo dyan. Ano ba yung mga accounts na tinatamaan natin? Okay? Para natin siya masabing ganon. So, 481,500 versus 497. Teka ha. Just to tignan ko lang. Kunin ko lang yung aking calculator at meron lang akong i-check. Ayun. Okay. So kita ko na. But please consider this one. Paano 'yon? Okay? Just a clue, just to give you a clue. Please consider this income tax expense ko. Okay? 481,500. Okay? Now, dito, yung aking restated na income tax expense ay 497,250. Okay? Ayan. So, yan class, no? Please consider these items here. Okay? So, it is noted that the adjusting entry for this cumulative effect is made in the books during 2021 when the company effected the change in method, taking the amount as the difference in January 1, 2021 inventory net of tax. However, in the statement of changes in equity, the cumulative effect of change is measured and reported as adjustments to the 2020 retained earnings beginning balance. Kaya balikan lang ulit natin ito. Sorry for going back and forth, no? Kung makikita po ninyo, although nag-apply po tayo ng weighted average dito, pero maapektuhan po ang ating mga naapektuhan po yung ating mga balanse. Pero please be aware kung alin nga ba, or please take note, alin-alin lang ba yung ating mga tinatamaan ng mga accounts. Okay? Sige. Alright, so yun po and let's proceed na. A review of retained earnings account during the year 2021, napapiyok ako, will show the following changes. January 1, 2021 balance 1,320. Effect of change from FIFO to weighted average 36,750. Profit for the year 1162.50. Ano to? Retained earnings account, yung movement po ito class, no? And 800,000 sa dividend. 1,643,500. Okay? Pero corrected na po kasi natin yung beginning balance ng 2021. Okay? Of course, yung beginning balance ng January 1, 2021 balance mo, that is your December 31, 2020. Pero that should be the restated balance na. Etong amount ng 1,643,500 as shown in the retained earning account is the same amount reported in the restated statement of financial position and the restated statement of changes in equity. It should be emphasized, okay, that the restatement of 2020 financial statements, when presented along with 2021 FS, is made to achieve comparability of financial information. Kasi imagine if hindi mo kinorek, although hindi naman mali, nagbago nga lang kasi tayo ng accounting policy. But para maging comparable yan, we have to apply retrospectively. Kasi hindi na, yun nga, paano siya magiging comparable for decision making, for assessing yung mga trends. Kung magkaiba sila ng ginagamit na basis. So para maging magkaparehas, at dahil nag-apply tayo ng bagong accounting policy, we have to restate the previous balance. Okay? In terms of the note, in our disclosure, a note describing and justifying the change is presented as follows. Ito, example lang ha. Hindi ko na po ito babasahin. From your copy or from this slide, you can take a pause of this lecture at pwede po ninyo siyang basahin. Pero ito po yung example na makikita po natin dapat sa disclosure in your notes to the financial statements. Okay? Alright. So ito yung ating example. Now, we will stop here because this is a different topic, errors. And para yung focus natin dito is only in the change in accounting policy. Now, class, if you have any questions or for clarifications, in terms of our discussions, please let me know para matulungan ko po kayo. And I will see you sa susunod na mga video lectures. Maraming salamat. Bye-bye.